Hello and welcome to the second part of my ViPR for VMware Workstation webcasts. Today we are going to install a ScaleIO environment fully automated for ViPR. Yesterday we did the fully automated ViPR installation and we ended up with a fully functioning ViPR controller running on VMware Workstation. This is the ViPR environment. Currently there's no storage assigned, there's no storage provider running, and there is no storage system running. We installed this system yesterday with Lab Builder. We do the same today for ScaleIO. So in order to install ScaleIO, we just make use of the ScaleIO storage virtual machine that comes with the ScaleIO package. I've written a small installation package with Lab Builder. It's called install ScaleIO SVM, and if we do a get help, we see that it has two parameter sets. So the first parameter set is installing of the storage virtual machines in a cluster environment. I have the option to select the network, if I want to have SDCs, SDSs, and if I want to configure. Configure means building an MDM and adding the SDS to the cluster. And there's another one, another parameter set, which I call the import parameter set, which takes the OVA and makes a master out of it, just does the extraction. So that's what we are going to do first. We're typing in install ScaleIO SVM minus OVA path, and it's in my environment. It sits under c:\users Karsten desktop, and it's called ScaleIO OVM. So we make sure that we take the right one. That's the new one. And we put it into a master name, and the master name is SIO master underscore 1311. So that's my master name that I'm going to build. I just hit OK, and what it does, it just uses the OVF tool to extract the OVA and build a master file in my Lab Builder environment that I can use to make clones of my virtual machines. The whole process should not last longer than, let's say, 1 or 2 minutes or a few seconds. I will speed this up later in the next version by just extracting the files with 7-zip, because that's pretty much faster than running through the OVA tool. But however, at this point we're using the OVA tool, just a few seconds, and then we are done. And we have a new deployed virtual machine template that we can use right now for deploying the virtual machines. So we get back to the command, and we use right now another parameter set, the install parameter set, that asks for the ScaleIO master path, and that's the SIO master 311. And I want to install 3 nodes. Starting node is 1, so I could easily add some nodes to the environment. I want to create 3 disks for ScaleIO. And I will go to the subnet 192.168.2.0. That's the subnet I also used for my other Lab Builder environment. The build domain that we have to put in here required is Lab Builder, because we set DNS name resolution later on. And the VMnet we are using is VMnet2 to make sure we can connect. We want to have an SDS, we want to have an SDC, we want to configure everything, and we want to do it verbosely. Just for you to see how fast this works, we measure that command a little bit. So we put this into curly brackets like this one, and we do a measure command minus expression, that's the expression, and off we go. So since the master wasn't templated, he's templating the master, and he detects that there is no snapshot. I have to make this smaller a little bit, that there is no snapshot, so he builds a base snapshot, and from that base snapshot he's building the clones. He's adding 3 disks to it. Each disk is 100 gig in size, and we will install the SDSs for that environment on the first disk. So once the system has started up, and that's the point where I make it a little bit bigger again, that's pretty similar to my Linux deployments. When the system is up and the VMware tools are in running state, I send some commands over to the virtual machine to configure networking. So networking is configured for the first virtual machine. It installs the required ScaleIO packages. It installs the GBG key for ScaleIO. Then it starts installing the MDM on the first node, the SDS and the SDC. Once finished with the first virtual machine, it will flip over to the secondary virtual machine. Now, once the setup is running, I could also start my PuTTY because I don't want to use the console, because the console is a little bit difficult to manage. That's the IP address of my primary, and I can already log in with root, and the password is admin. Oops, jumping in the field. So we are connected here to ScaleIO node 1. So network resolution and all that stuff right now works like it should. We can try also if we can ping 192.168.2.10, which is my domain controller. So it looks like everything is up and running. We can do a RPM minus query all, and then do a grab EMC. Those are the installed packages on that machine. So you see we have the SDC, the SDS, the LIAM module, and the MDM. The gateway, however, will be installed on the last node of the environment. So once this is starting, I hook my ScaleIO user interface that we can use in a few moments to connect to the MDM. Can already put in the username and the password 123. And once we are going beyond the critical phase, which means all 3 nodes are installed, I'm starting the automated configuration of ScaleIO. We can then connect with the UI to the environment. So right now the third machine is coming up. So the whole process of deploying the fully blown ScaleIO, I won't call it cluster, I would call it grid, takes no longer than 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So we will see the time it takes in a few seconds. So the network is configured right now for the third node. While this is running, I can also start a PuTTY session to that node as well. And I log in as root admin, and I do a RPM minus QA and do a grab EMC. And see there's already the tiebreaker installed. And we can again. Now there's the gateway installed, so we can connect to the gateway later on to do some stuff. I also installed the LIA model or LIA model on all the machines. This will be work as well. SDC installed on the machine. LIA module. And once this is done, the only thing that I have to do right now is connecting to the primary again and configure ScaleIO. So when we are at the point that he's built the cluster, we can connect from the UI, can hook to the back end and view live how all the elements are added in. And now he's done. So he added a gigabyte drive to each environment, to a protection domain called Lab Builder, and to a pool called Pool Lab Builder. So because I did it minus verbose, we have all the outputs here, and right now in this use case it took like 4 minutes and 44 seconds to install a 3-node ScaleIO cluster. So as I said earlier, I want to connect this to ViPR. So we go back to our ViPR interface, and we go to storage providers, and we say add a storage provider. And the storage provider name, we name it ScaleIO, and it's a ScaleIO type, and the host is the 168.2.191. Port is 22, that's the SSH port, and the username, we take the root user because I didn't add some users to it, and the password is admin. I have to confirm it. Then I provide the MDM user. The MDM user is admin, and the MDM password is password 123 and password 123. I don't provide an element manager address because I have my element manager already up and running. I click on save, and now he detected a block device, ScaleIO. That's okay, and he's going to discover the system. So everything seems up and running. I could go now to my storage systems and see there's a ScaleIO. This is the serial number of the ScaleIO, and that's the protection domain of ScaleIO, PD Lab Builder. I click down, say OK. I can take a look at the pools, and we see there's one pool discovered. It has 128 gigabytes free in space and a total of 269 gigabytes. That's the pool we currently have. And we also could look at the storage system and look at the ports. So that's the ScaleIO ports that we currently have in use. So that's it for the installation. I hope you find that helpful. In the next part, I will go out and configure some machines to make use of storage that we provide through ScaleIO, which means we run just through the portal and configure some storage resources. Thank you and bye-bye.